Jeremy.
Little first responders perspective now. Joining us is Brian Dorow, the Dean of Criminal Justice at Waukesha County Technical College, former officer yourself. What is the first thing, Brian, when this blast happens and you're an officer on that scene, you're there to do crowd control, what clicks in?
The first thing is immediate preservation of life. You have to tend to and render aid to the victims or those that are in need of assistance that cannot help themselves. So the first thing the officers are going to do, the police, fire, and EMS as a team are going to get there and tend to the victims, move them out of the area, and then it goes into what we call scene stabilization and securing of the scene. You're going to start setting up an inner perimeter where basically whatever's inside that area that is deemed where the explosions occurred, that is going to be your inner perimeter. From there, you're going to keep everything out, because now you have a crime scene that you have to maintain, a sterile crime scene, so you have to keep it safe and secure.
I was listening to some of the coverage, and one of the anchors or reporters in Boston remarked that usually in this marathon and the hours before, they have bomb-sniffing dogs walking the route. Is that typical, and would they not have discovered that, or is it just the fact you got 26 miles and you can't scour every inch?
You never know. It is protocol for large venues, or it is suggested when you have large open venues, something like this, that you bring in the dogs and you do an extra security check of the manhole covers, anything where somebody could place an explosive device. It is done quite often. Parade routes, as well as large
big
open events,
right.
big events.
It will come as no surprise that this is likely an act of terrorism, although nobody has been targeted yet as a suspect as far as we know. But these were intentionally set as far as anyone can tell. Would you agree with that before I ask the next question?
I would agree with that.
Okay,
yes.
So now how do you know who did this and why?
Well, it's going to take some skilled investigators to collect the evidence. You're going to analyze the evidence. You're going to see what is the makeup of this explosive device. Does it relate to any other explosive device that are part of a database? And then you're going to see, does somebody come out and claim responsibility for this? Or they're going to use investigative leads. They're going to look at surveillance camera. I can only imagine this is a larger city. Everything is under surveillance nowadays. They're going to look for suspects, license plates, whatever they can come up with to start the initial investigation to find the suspect or suspects that are responsible for this.
Fox News Channel is reporting that sources are telling them that there is a person of interest in custody in the hospital, but yet police are saying, no, we don't have anybody in custody. What do you think about the, I don't want to say disconnect, but that information?
It's hard to say. Somebody may report it, somebody is seeking attention. You just never know, So until law enforcement certainly has somebody in custody that they believe is responsible for this, an individual and or individuals, again, they're still looking for the public assistance. They're still trying to determine, put sense to this situation. And so somebody may be in custody, but there may be other individuals responsible. So therefore, they're still looking.
Is it possible, is it very likely the police would not want that to get out until they've got all their ducks in a row, so to speak?
And that may be the case. Remember, certainly you have to collect the evidence. You have to, go over what we call the anatomy of a crime scene. Methodically looking and collecting just every little bit of evidence, and there's a lot there because with an explosion, things move, things go all over the place.
All right, Brian Dorow, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Very informative.
Thank you.
Let's recap now. If you're just joining us, just getting home from work, a couple of explosions at the Boston Marathon today, right at the 4-hour and 9 and 4-hour and 10-minute mark of the race. 2 people are dead. About 100 hurt. We will continue to gather the latest information and bring it to you throughout this newscast. By the way, we are going to stay on until 7 o'clock tonight. Also, to find out more on what happened, video and condolences from people here in Wisconsin, come to our website, fox6now.com.
And as Henry just told us a little while ago, there are people from Wisconsin who are in Boston now for the marathon.
Our crews have been working the phones over the last few hours. You're going to hear more from those people later in this newscast. Plus, we are following other news today. A vigil for 2 teenagers killed in that grisly crash over the weekend. Were they drag racing?